Volkswagen's third generation Tiguan has been subtly moved up market, but will retain a familiar appeal to hordes of loyal customers who liked this lower mid-sized SUV's two predecessors. It's been redesigned outside and completely upgraded within, plus it's more electrified, bigger and better connected.
A Tiguan customer won't typically be looking for anything particularly dynamic behind the wheel. They will prioritise refinement, comfort and, a little surprisingly if the sales numbers are to be believed, four-wheel drive. The big change with this Mark III model, the adoption of the company's new, more electrified MQB Evo platform, doesn't feel like much of a big change from behind the wheel, but that's only because Wolfsburg's decided it should be so, keeping the road manners perhaps unsurprisingly firm but comfortable, the way it thinks most customers will like it. Actually though, quite a lot's gone on in terms of re-engineering, changes to the suspension, which have actually made the ride firmer, the adoption of the brand's Vehicle Dynamics Manager system, retuned steering and an adapted DCC Pro version of the brand's adaptive damping system. There's also an all-new PHEV e-hybrid drivetrain option based around a 1.5 litre petrol engine and a bigger 19.7 kilowatt-hour battery, now offering a 60-mile EV range. There's a choice of either 204 or 272 PS models, and either way, as before, the e-hybrid setup's only front-driven and mated to 6-speed DSG auto transmission. Unlike most of its rivals, Volkswagen can't offer a full hybrid powertrain for those who can't stretch to PHEV tech, but it has added its mild hybrid e-TSI tech into the Tiguan range. That's what we're trying here. The 1.5 litre e-TSI model in question comes either with 130 PS or, as here, with 150, in which guise it returns up to 45.6 mpg on the combined cycle and up to 141 grams per kilometre of CO2, which is similar to the returns you'd get from the continuing 2-litre TDI 150 PS diesel model. All conventionally engined Tiguan variants use the brand's 7-speed DSG auto transmission, and there's the option of 4Motion four-wheel drive further up the range. This third generation Tiguan is a recognisable evolution of its popular predecessor, but it wants to move a fraction further up market, hence Volkswagen's decision to make it 30mm longer than before. It's also 4mm taller. The big differences this time round, though, lie inside, where there's a completely redesigned cabin that's more spacious, better quality and more sophisticated. All the screen stuff is based on the new VW Group MIB4 setup we first saw in the ID.7, a major step forward from the MIB3 system that's attracted much criticism in the current Golf. The parts of that old system that featured on the previous Tiguan have been addressed here, so controls are now properly backlit and the previous silly touch-sensitive steering wheel buttons banished. A 10.3-inch digital instrument display is now standard, paired alongside a central infotainment touchscreen that will usually be 12.9 inches but can be upgraded to this rather overlarge 15-inch size on request. Because there are now no manual gearbox Tiguans, the transmission selector has been relocated to a steering column stalk. The centre console has been redesigned. It now hosts a rotary controller used to alter driving modes, audio volume, and what Volkswagen calls atmospheres, basically pre-programmed settings for music and ambient lighting. The seats are supportive and there's plenty of cabin storage space, plus there's now a dual phone charging station and a head-up display that projects directly onto the windscreen instead of onto a plastic panel as before. Right, time to take a seat in the back. Now, we told you earlier on about this Mark III model's 30mm increase in body length, but none of that enhancement is between the wheels, so we're not expecting rear seat space to be improved. Alas, it hasn't been, which means that, as before, if there's a long-legged person in front of you, there isn't going to be a huge amount of space for your knees. Fortunately, also as before, this bench base slides by up to 180mm forwards and back, a feature which still isn't a given in this class, The backrest reclines too via these pull straps for greater comfort on longer journeys. Finally, let's take a look out back. Now, here we've got a powered tailgate, but the two base spec variants have to do without that feature. This is where you get the benefit of that extra 30mm of body length. The hatch rises to reveal a spacious 652-litre boot to the height of the rear seat backrests. In the conventionally engined models, that's up from 520 litres before. And that's a figure difficult to better in this class. Up to 9 carry-on suitcases will fit. Even the 490-litre figure you get from the e-hybrid PHEV models, up from 381 litres before, is better than some conventionally engined rivals. The Tiguan has evolved, but not beyond recognition. If you liked it before, you'll like it even more now with its newly chiselled looks and more advanced powertrain selection. The redesigned cabin we think is key. The previous model's interior couldn't really carry off a near premium price tag. With this third generation model, that had to change, and to some extent, it has. Such has always been this car's appeal, and in that respect, little has changed with this Mark III model. Much else is different though. This is a cleverer type of Tiguan, as it needs to be for the prices being asked. These might suggest a mid-sized SUV with a more premium badge, but there's no doubt that this one now has more of a premium feel.